your business is making money doesn't mean that you are making money. As a business owner, you have to understand that there's differences between revenue, profit, and cash flow. What does that mean? Revenue is actually the sales that you're making and the actual amount of money that you're making prior deductions. The profit is actually the money that is left after you encounter how much you have spent for your service. And cash flow is actually, do you have enough money to pay the bills? So a lot of clients sometimes ask, well, I don't know if I am being profitable in my business because I actually don't know my numbers. So when that happens, for example, if you are giving a service for a remodelation or construction, or you are doing a job for electricians, right? For example, you have to calculate from labor, material, and how long it's going to take you to complete that job. That is how you calculate exactly how much your profit is going to be from that project and actually how much it costs you to run the business. Because from there, you might have cost of rent, maybe you have a storage or office. So that is very important. Another thing is that you have to have a budget for accounting and bookkeeping. A lot of business owners think that they're going to make money and just let it flow through your bank account, but then what happens to the bookkeeping and accounting? That is very important. Why? Because one, you need to know your numbers. And two is, if in case of an audit with IRS wants to see those bank accounts and make sure that you actually have those receipts as well. Right now, with the new world of AI and all this artificial intelligence, you just don't know how IRS is implementing that. So you just want to be ahead of the game. I always say, if there's an IRS audit, why are you going to be scared if you have everything in order? Because technically, there is that they're red flagging a certain, it could be a categorization of, let's say, material. You are completing that job and you didn't save receipts, or you did. Now IRS wants to know exactly how much did you deduct? Do you have the proof? And if it was recorded in your bank account as well and in your books. This is why it's so important that you have that team in place, and you can hire a fractional CFO like us at SAS Tax and Business Solutions. This is what we do. Another thing is, people don't understand their numbers when they're going to do an investment, right? We have business owners that they start the business, they're passionate about it, but then now what happens after? And you have to make sure that you understand your numbers. And this is where you have to have your team of accounting and bookkeeping in place. Clients come and do all these LLCs because they heard it and it was the best thing ever. And I'm here to tell you, LLCs have two benefits. One is the legal protection, which, disclaimer, I'm not an attorney. And second is how you do your taxes at the end of the year. I had a client today call me and they're like, hey, I want to open another LLC. I currently have an LLC for my electrical business, but now I am going to purchase a property and I want that property to be under the LLC. Great. Yes, it protects you legally, but clients need to understand, and you need to understand, that if you're opening LLCs, that means that you have to have a different bank account, an extra tax return at the end of the year, and accounting in place. So it is very crucial for you to know that opening LLCs, it's required for you to have a lot of organization and management as well. As well with people that think that you need an LLC in order to take deductions in your tax return. So that is false. You don't need an LLC to be able to take those deductions. You can be a self-employed subcontractor or somebody that just started their DBA. If you are considered self-employed or a contractor, You're able to take the same deductions that someone that has an LLC can. And those are the categories. For example, we have materials, office expense, advertising, mileage, depreciation, and so on. So if you are starting your business and you feel like, hey, I heard that I need an LLC in order for me to get these deductions, that is not true. So it is important though that you do document and keep order of what you have in the beginning of starting your business. You're passionate about it. You buy the material or the equipment for you to start the business. That is a write-off. So anything that you started purchasing in order for you to start running your business, that's a write-off. And another thing is that a lot of people ask me, okay, what can I write off? That is one of the questions that it's if you are starting a business, yes, it's important for you to have a team by your side because they can tell you, hey, you can write this off. You cannot write off personal expenses. For example, a lot of people think that, okay, I'm going to go get my nails done. And because I am in front of cameras, I can deduct my nails. That is false. You cannot be deducting personal expenses. You just have to understand that anything that you are purchasing or you're using for the business, that is what is required for you to run your business. That is what you're able to write off. Another thing, the differences between an S corp and a 1095. I'm sorry. Another thing, the differences between partnerships and S corporations, those are extra tax returns. So you have to understand that a 1040 is your personal tax return. That's where your W-2s go, any Schedule Cs as you're starting your business. But once you become an S corporation, your tax return goes on a 1120S. If you have a partnership, you started a business with somebody else, and no matter what the percentage is, that is a partnership, that is a 1065 tax return. And we have the C Corp. C Corp goes on at 1120 as well. And now we have all these different tax categories. We have all these different tax returns. That means that you are also going to keep up with your tax deadlines. I feel that many business owners where we also fail is on deadlines. We have penalties, we have interest because we're not on time with our deadlines. So, for example, if you have 1099 subcontractors, those are due by January 31st as of 2027, for example. If you have been paying somebody as a subcontractor or a contract labor, you give them a W-7 form for not. So if you have a subcontractor and you are paying them, you have to give them a W-9 form. That way you can generate a 1099 at the end of the year, and then you can go ahead and provide that. You can be on top of that deadline, which is January 31st. With the S corporations is March 15th as well with the partnership. One of the biggest things that I see is that either clients don't understand the importance that it is for you to fill out your tax return on time, because if not, there's penalties, interest, and more interest over interest with any balances that you might have waited for a while for you to pay. So um, for me, it's crucial. I would say put a reminder on your phone, get with your team. I feel like, as tax professionals or accountants, we are not taken serious sometimes. And this is where it is hard for us as when we do our job, because once we come and tell you the bad news of like, you have penalties, you have to do more work, and now you have to pay extra for everything that needs to be done, we're the bad person. And clients get mad at us. But this is why it is important for you to keep up with everything, so you don't have any problem at the end of the year. So, and that's another thing. So When is the right time for you to start tax planning? Technically is now, before the year ends. I usually advise clients to start tax planning between August and December, even earlier than December, because that way you have an average on how much you have made first half of the year and how much you think you're going to make for the end of the year, the last 6 months. So that gives you an average of getting to know your numbers, getting to know what your estimated tax liability might be, as well that you get to prepare. As if you have a balance, now you know that you can't go Christmas shopping and all these vacations before the year ends, because we have to plan accordingly. So please, I advise you to make sure that you are making those estimated tax payments as well, if you know that usually you have a tax liability. So those estimated tax payments are due every 3 months, which is the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter of the year. And keep in mind, don't confuse these estimated tax payments for IRS with the sales tax. Sales tax is a permit that you obtain through the state. So, for example, in this case, the state of Texas. So, the state of Texas provides you a certificate of sales tax. That tells you, okay, you are opening a business and now you need to charge taxes over your sale, right? So, for example, you get that permit. That means that the state of Texas is allowing you to charge the client that 8.25% of sales tax. But guess what? That money, those taxes is not your money. That tax actually belongs to the state. So for them, they're like, hey, I provided you a sales tax permit. You either pay me monthly or quarterly that sales tax that you've been currently charging the client. So that is very important for you to keep up with, because again, that is not your money. I usually advise clients to keep a separate bank account, especially if you are collecting taxes and you don't want to spend that money. Like at the end of the month, you have extra money. Remember, it might be for sales tax or your tax for IRS. So that is very important. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact us or follow us for more information. Another thing with the cash. Clients come and ask me, Jessenia, I have my LLC, I have my bank account, and now I'm also getting paid cash. Do I have to report that cash? Do I have to deposit that cash? Or maybe not, I'm not going to deposit that cash because I don't want to pay taxes on it. First of all, you have to pay taxes on any money that you're making. That's the rule. That's the law. Second, if you don't deposit that money in your bank account, how are you going to know how much how much your business is making on a monthly basis, quarterly, and then annually, right? So for me, it is important that you do deposit that money, because now you're also showing the health of your business. Let's say you have an opportunity, you're growing your LLC, you're now profitable. Now you're able to go build another business or invest. You can start by getting a loan. But guess what? They're going to look at your bank accounts. If they don't see any profit, how is the bank going to let you borrow money when you're not making money, right? I always tell clients, the bank is not going to let you the bank allows people to borrow money to whoever's making money. So that is very important. And then also, don't ask for a loan when you're needing the money. You ask for a loan when you're actually doing good, there's a profit, because then now the bank sees, okay, that this is a healthy business. I can go ahead and provide them with a loan, and now you can reinvest either to your company, right? So another thing is, you are trying to purchase a house, you've been a self-employed, and now you've been doing your tax returns as, oh, I don't want to report too much, or I am, which by the way, the law is that you have to report all your income and any cash. But they put a lot of deductions, right? And sometimes people don't understand what their tax professionals or tax preparers are doing in their tax return. And you have to understand what is happening in the tax return. Ask questions, especially if you have a Schedule C. Let me see what my gross income was. Let me see my expenses. What is my profit? Those are the three things that are very important for you to see in your tax return, especially that if you have any goals as purchasing a house, you're trying to purchase a land or however you want to proceed for your future, right? So in that case, the lenders look at that tax return. They're like, well, in paper, you're broke. You have to show income. So please don't make that mistake as of, I don't want to pay taxes. I'm going to put all these write-offs, or I'm going to trust my tax preparer uh, because she's good. She's always giving me a refund, or I pay zero taxes. No, that's a huge red flag. And another thing, IRS is watching. So if you're just, blowing money, putting it out in social media, yeah, that's being recorded. Especially like I said, with AI, it's happening. They're in it. They're calculating. They're actually viewing, especially depending on the industry of what's happening. Does the real estate side, let's say a realtor comes and they're reporting an X amount and then deducting another X amount of on advertising, right? Because they decided to write off all the pictures they took, all the recording they did, but they also wanted to add their nails, their hair, their clothing. Well, if that deduction is higher than usual, like that's going to provide a red flag to IRS, and that's going to actually have them audit you. And this is where you need to have your bank account, your receipts, and make sure that your purchase was for business purposes, that it was necessary for your business. And again, if it's something that you are purchasing that you're able to use it for personal use as well, is not going to be a write-off. Okay. So literally, this is something that we've seen cases that they lose at the tax court because they start writing off things that they're able to use and on the personal side as well. And then from there, I would say one of the biggest things that a business owner in the beginning uh, finds that it's just hard for them is that cash flow, right? And knowing your numbers and knowing to see if, okay, am I going to be able to pay my rent this month, and not understanding themselves. So you have to have systems in place. One thing that I have done, and I think that for me, it's been very, very successful, is having systems in place, as any industry needs it, right? As from when you get a lead from them calling you, how are you going to treat them? How is the process going? And all that good stuff. So, and you have to find mentors as well, because honestly, for me, if it wasn't because of all the mentors I have in my life as for the business purpose, I don't think I would be successful as I am right now, because I would be lost. And then it's okay to ask for help. Like, you're starting a business, find that mentor that is in your industry, and see who's actually doing what you want, or you want to get to that level. See what they're doing, study them. That is important as a business owner as well. So one of the things that I do also see in the beginning for a business owner is commingling their money when they start their business. You get your personal account, and then you start receiving payments from the side gigs that you do, and you just, okay, the money comes into your personal account, and then you start using your personal account to purchase things for the business. That is where you need to start getting organized and making sure that you're not commingling the money. If you need to purchase something and your personal bank account is low, I would say just transfer it. Transfer, sell yourself from the business to the personal. because it looks better. It looks better in books. It looks better for the accounting side, and then also you are protecting yourself as not you putting that accounting in edge as like, okay, maybe that was, let me use it for advertising and it was not for advertising, right? And that's where the problems come in place. So one of the things that we offer at SAS Tax and Business Solutions is that we want to make sure that our clients understand their financial reports. We do their bookkeeping, their accounting, and then at the end, they understand their taxes. We are having CFO meetings, like as their fractional CFO, throughout the year. Right now, October usually it's another like our last quarter for the year. And our clients already understand their numbers and also what their tax liability might be looking like. Remember that any professional and legal fees that you have to pay to run your business, that is a tax write-off. So why not have a bookkeeping team on your side so you can have everything in order and have that peace of mind. So at the end of the year, yes, you might have to pay taxes, but at least you're not overpaying because you know exactly where you need to be. So you're starting a new business and you don't know where to start. First of all, I always advise to have a business plan. It could be you writing in your notebook, writing exactly what is it that you are looking for. You have a passion, and now what's next? Let's say you are a photographer, you are a videographer, but then who is your ideal client? Write it down. Are you looking into more recording into real estate, or you're more into a podcast, right? So that is important for you to know exactly what is it that you want. Who is your clientele? Another thing is putting boundaries in the beginning, because I feel that as a new business owner, sometimes we say yes, yes, yes to everything. And sometimes not all money is good money, and your peace of mind, it's more important than anything, right? Then you open that business. It could be an DBA or an LLC. What is the difference? The DBA is doing business as, I always say, it is like testing the water. You go to the county court and register that business, right? It's still tied to your personal. Or you can open an LLC, a limited liability company. That is actually registered throughout the state. For example, the state of Texas. So if you register a business here in Houston, somebody from Dallas can't be using the same name, right? So then after you register your business, you go and open that bank account. You make sure that you open that business bank account, because it is going to be super important that you start early, as not commingling your expenses. Once you open that bank account, you start, either if you're going to invest $500, $1,000 into that business, you put that deposit in your business bank account. From there, you start collecting, making all those sales, and getting paid there from your clients. And then if you need to have any expenses, you need to now pay for equipment or things like that, then you can use your business bank account. In another words, too, is that you can also start business credit. So that is important. With business credit, your personal credit, it is a collateral. So they'll still look into that. But at least you already have it separated. Then you start with your accounting and bookkeeping. What is bookkeeping? Pretty much is your books, registering what came in, like all the expenses and what came out. If you have invoicing and all the expenses, you make sure you keep all your invoicing and then also all your receipts for the expenses. The receipts are for you to keep as a proof that you did that expense. Your tax preparer or your tax professional doesn't really need the receipts when they do their tax return, because that is for you to have on hand. And then accounting. Accounting means that anything that um, passed through the bank account, everything has to match what you are actually purchasing, and they have to be coordinated, right? Then there's expenses that you might be doing off the books. That's something that goes in your books as a journal entry, for example. Many clients ask me, they're like, hey, Jessenia, do you think that I should open a QuickBooks right away? I would say have an Excel in the beginning, because sometimes business owners don't have the capital to be investing on QuickBooks throughout on a monthly basis. But having Excel helps you. It helps you get your numbers, and also having that as a in categories from for all the deductions that you'll be able to take at the end of the year. So it's more of having organization with your numbers, with your bookkeeping, your accounting, but also knowing where you're heading as a business owner. Who is your ideal clientele? Where are you trying to be in 5 years? How are you going to get there? How are you working on it? So for me, for example, my clientele are business owners, because we help them with, as a fractional CFO, I know that I am not going to go networking to a place where there's really not a lot of business owners, or it's not my ideal clientele that I'm looking for. And that's something that you have to be very intentional about. In the beginning, put your boundaries. And don't be trying to be everywhere. Be intentional about where you're going to be at and who are you going to be speaking to. At the end of the day, it's your business and you have to treat it as a baby. And if you don't feed it correctly, it's not going to grow. So it's all about having the mentality and having the organization and making sure that you don't stop. And like I always say, make sure you show up every day for your business. Does that answer a little bit of? Yeah. Okay, perfect. The SBA? Okay. Oh, really? Oh, okay, okay. Hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's true. Oh my God. Why did I like not say about that? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. As a new business owner, you can also look at resources. For example, we have the SBA. You go to their website and they help you tremendously with how to write a business plan, how to start business credit, and even if you are needing capital. The SBA is a huge resource that you can use. There's other resources locally. I know the community colleges have have different um, resources that help small business owners in how to start their business. And actually, I was talking to a couple of friends, and for example, Baker Ripley's too. It's fun in a way too that they have like pitching contests as you go pitch your startup, and you have the chance to win and use that capital for your business and reinvest into your business. That's something that it's always going to happen. You have to reinvest into your business, and never stop learning. So you have to go and search all these resources. Like I said, two of them I highly recommend is the SBA and also Baker Ripley's, that help with all these resources and guide you even more as a small business owner here in Houston. You can do what you want, just seize that day.